sidestep here. Triller, when I said he got the bag, Triller is going to be promoting the fight here. And the problem, though, is that Triller is putting on this big, massive events throughout the year. They started with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, and then they got another Jake Paul event coming in April, and they're supposed to be involved in the Holyfield-Tyson fight. We don't know if it's Holyfield, but that's like the rumor cat out the bag. And then Tyson comes out today and says that he's not working with Triller. People, I am baffled by this here because it was such a huge event. Mario Lopez, Snoop Dogg. The next event's going to have Justin Bieber. If you're a Bieber fan, he's going to be performing. The Black Keys are going to be performing. There's going to be a lot of people here at this fight for the April fight. And then out of left field, Tyson's going to say, I'm working on my Legends Only League, and I'm not associated with Triller. And I was like, wait a minute, we're talking about Teofimo Lopez getting the bag because Triller paid a $6 million fee for the fight. We got the Jake Paul coming up. They made, close to 1.9 million pay-per-view buys in the Tyson fight. Mm-hmm. And I find this very ironic, Jorge. I didn't want to sidestep here. We were talking about this before. That a week earlier, I saw some documents that show that Triller has the first right to refusal of the next Tyson fight, the way it was negotiated. It did so successful that whatever fight Tyson has, it's basically like a promoter deal. Like, it's not a fight-by-fight basis, but they have the right to the first refusal. So the next fight comes up, Tyson can't just say, hey, I'm going to do this now. It's a fight. It's like, no, we're the promoter. We got contracts here. And then literally 5 days later, this comes out.
Yeah, it's baffling. When you brought it up to me, I was like, oh, okay, where's this headed and stuff, and I still don't know where it's headed. I get what he wants to do. You signed a contract.
Yeah, I mean, everything's gonna come out in the woodwork later, but the idea that I literally saw a week earlier that Triller has the first right to refusal. And think about it. Any fight promoter in the game, whether you're new or you're like Bob Arum, you've been established for 70 years, you're going to have contracts set up where that no matter what, like if you're going to fight again, I got the next fight. You know what I'm saying? Like the winner always, like you see it all the time where that even in unless it's a fight where it's a mandatory and unless you have an automatic rematch involved in that, the promoters are like, even if it's someone who's outside the game, it's like, no, I got your next fight now. And then after that fight, then they can negotiate and you go independent normally. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to go legally because Snoop Dogg invested after the fact. He was in there, then he invested after the fact because you got Tyson involved. So you literally had this money maker, and there was no talk of Legends Only being separate from Triller. It felt like Legends Only is going to be this league, and Thriller is going to be the promotional outfit that's going to put it on, being that they're the competition of TikTok. So that's something I'm gonna be doing some nerd analysis the next few weeks here because this next Tyson fight is gonna be huge. That how much money it made that no one expected in Thanksgiving, and now that we could have a possible Holyfield fight, Jorge, and then now you add once again while we're doing this podcast, the little dynamics of politics and boxing, why stuff happens and stuff doesn't happen. When money gets made so much, we start seeing little things like this happen.
Yeah, it's this new venture comes out in its first release. It does it does unexpectedly well, and basically now everyone's like, okay, well, how can I carve out a bigger piece of the pie than what I got? Right? I mean, it was 1.9 million pay-per-view buys, right?
That's crazy. Whatever, 49 a pop.
Well, whatever my percentage was, what can I do to increase that, right? So this is where
let me ask them too. Tyson and Jones minimum guarantee was 1 million. They were saying that when it hit 1.4, that Tyson was guaranteed about 50 million, at least when it got to like the 1.4. And now I'm seeing the numbers at 1.8 to 1.9 now. So I mean, in that dynamic where you take so much less upfront and then you just wait for the back end, that money's just going to be coming in for years because you're still calculating all this stuff that's going on. So think about it. If you're Tyson, you're like, yo. I mean, I don't know if Tyson involved in this. One thing we do know is that Tyson has not been good with finances with his money. Now, I look at this as knowing Tyson in his life and his career right now. I think it's the people behind the scenes. Yeah. I don't want to go too far into this, but one thing we know is that I love his show Hot Boxing. And there was the original host that was there is no longer on there. And he did a pod talking about he loves Mike, but it's stuff behind the scenes. The reason why he's not hosting and why we see Jeremy Piven on there now. I like Jeremy Piven. He's a good host. I like what the other host did. It was a different dynamic, different vibe, what got me into the show. Mm-hmm. So it looks like that the people in Mike Tyson's corner, the people who were supporting him, his business entities, are kind of driving this, because when you look at things, the way Tyson does things, it doesn't look like something that he's doing. It's like it's management. I know his wife runs his business too. Not trying to put anything on his wife, but I just look at his management, his wife, and the other players that are in place are doing these things. Not Tyson per se.
Yeah, you're in agreement. I'm in agreement there with. I mean, Tyson historically, he ran his promotional company. The promotional company at the time, Don King, that was having him under contract. I sent some bad deals, right? So, from a business point of view, this would make sense that it wouldn't be in his corner, right? It'd be definitely one of his handlers, somebody that's in his business camp who's looking at this and saying, "Hey, there's some opportunity here, missed opportunity maybe in the past that we got to jump on it now. Now that it's basically with the numbers that they weren't expecting, that they got there and surpassed. So they're definitely looking at, okay, how can we get a bigger piece of the pie moving forward? Okay, maybe we do something on our own instead. Problem is there's a contract. So I think
we're gonna find out in a few months,
exactly.
because I just find it I just want to repeat again. I find it very ironic that literally last week I'm in my nerd wormhole reading business stuff, and Triller literally said they have the first right to refusal. And then on Sunday, Tyson is saying that I don't work with anybody but my own Legends Only League.
Yeah,
it wasn't like Triller. It wasn't like Triller saying like, "Yo, we got this." It was just like an article on this reading business, and it's just the whole details of all these future fights with Triller. So it wasn't like Triller was coming out saying, "Hey, we got Tyson's next fight." It was just me reading news.
Yeah,
general business information, right?
With or without Tyson, that's basically any contract with any fighters. That's basically what that's basically the terms of the contract says.
So we'll see what happens with Tyson. I don't know what's going on. If Tyson has a better deal with what he's trying to do on a separate side, I just know that Triller got the money and they're promoting. They did a good job. So I'm hopefully that it doesn't delay anything that's going to happen for future fights. I'm interested. I know you weren't interested into the celebrity stuff, except for fighters who are fighting old fighters. You said
exactly.
If it wasn't you're not into the other guys doing their thing, but it's entertaining for me.
Exactly. So I mean, in a way, I kind of get what Tyson's doing with his Legends League. I kind of like that concept, that premise, right? So I'm actually looking forward to see what other details he decides when he brings up more information about how he wants to handle that. I'm actually more curious about the fighters, really.
I mean, right now we got Holyfield, Tyson, and Roy Jones. Of course, I can see Roy Jones fighting again. He just can't give it up. He loves fighting. Same thing with Holyfield. Like he's still trained. He looks good for a man his age. Hitting the heavy bag. But there's a ton of guys that we can think of right now that's like, yo, I mean, if they got in the gym, like Oscar De La Hoya, he said he's down to 170, 180 right now.
He's the name I was thinking about right away.
Yeah, like if we want to talk about Legends Only, and he talked about he wanted to fight. Remember the rumors we had mentioned in a few episodes, several back, about Triple G at one time, and he was talking that up. And then originally that DAZN, when all the stuff was going on between him and Canelo, and to try to patch things up so they can make money, there was going to be a Canelo Oscar De La Hoya exhibition. That was actually on the table by DAZN. I'm not making this up. That was there. And I'm like, man, I mean, the way Canelo's pissed off at him with the contract, he probably would have murdered Oscar that night if that would have happened. I would
probably say anybody in the last 20 years that's retired or has, I would say probably look at any of those fighters that somebody puts in, right? Anything within like age 55 and maybe, 40, right? And I can probably rattle off a couple names that may not be there now, but if it was something that actually picked up stream, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, I can see James Toney doing something like that.
I hope he don't. No, I'm dumb. No, I love Tony.
For this?
No. He ain't got no. He can't talk no more, man. He's like Terry. He's like Terry Nunn. Is it Terry Nunn I'm thinking of, who lost to Chavez? Man, I hate that I did this. People, if you can correct me, the fight that Chavez lost, that Richard Steele called off with 2 seconds left. Terrible Terry Norris.
Yes,
Terry Norris. I knew it was So he is talking like that. If you've seen Tony, I mean, it's night and day, his speech and vernacular. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to say he has Alzheimer's or he has what the symptoms that maybe Ali may have, Parkinson, whatever it is. His motor skills are so diminished now. I hope that no one gives him a boxing license, even if he's destitute for money. His speech is that bad now. Like if I showed you a speech, him talking, what's a good example? The Jurov fight, one of his best fights at cruiserweight. I recommend anybody watch. I think that was in 2001 or 2003 when he fought Jurov at cruiserweight. Oh my God, that was a damn good fight for Tony. You watch that fight and look at an interview from 2 years ago. He talks like he's like 80 years old, man. It's sad. I mean, he's had a lot of fights. I mean, and then, you know, the end of his career, he was, you know, he got caught doping for steroids, reason why that he's not in the Hall of Fame now, you know, but I understand if this, you know, Tony is a legend. I love him as a fighter. Dude was a beast, but I do not want to see him fight no more, man. I do not. I mean, there's certain people who do not need to get in the ring. I know, like I was talking about how Tyson and how he had mental illness problems and anxiety and everything that we've seen Tyson go through. And the fact that we've seen him do the transformation, we've seen him do the work. Even though people may be against him, you know, marijuana, even though it's legal, marijuana has saved this man's life. You can tell the way he uses it. He uses it for his treatment, the way he talks. He's a whole different person along with his healthy lifestyle now. And with him boxing, you can tell that this is giving him life again. James Toney, it could be another punch and this dude's in the hospital forever. I mean, that's how bad he's talking. I didn't want to go this long on it, but it just you brought it up, and the first thing that came to my head was his last interview I saw, because Freddie Roach trained him for so long, and you know how bad Freddie Roach is. He is on the same status of Freddie Roach speaking right now. I mean, Freddie Roach got Parkinson's.
So James Toney, I mean, and I wasn't aware of what was going on with him in the last, like I haven't followed up with him in the last year or so, so I didn't realize things were that bad. But I would say,
man, it's sad.
I mean, it was a good example if things were okay, but I would say any other fighter that would be like of that ilk.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. Yeah,
I could see a Klitschko, either Klitschko, one of them, not both of them.
Oh, they both look good. I seen the old one, Vitali. Yeah. He was working out last week. He could fight today.
I actually want to see Lennox Lewis to see.
Oh, Lennox Lewis looks damn good right now.
I want to see that. It's a fight that I would love to see again.
Man, I follow him on Twitter, and he was talking, and yeah, I mean, of course he looked different. He looks older because he cut his dreads off. He got the bald head, but he looks so good right now. He's in shape as well. I mean, Vitali's in shape. Vladimir, they were trying to get him out of retirement because he just fought a few years ago. You know, so like guys like them, I don't know who would fight them at heavyweight. Like, let's see the brothers fight for exhibition for like 8 rounds and see what happens.
Oh, they won't fight. If they're going to do that in real life, they're doing. I mean, in a real match, they weren't going to do that in a sparring match and stuff. But I can see somebody like Vitali and Lewis. That's what I'm hoping, like for stuff like that.
Oh yeah, or either one of the two, Vitali or against Lennox Lewis. Exactly. One of those two. That'd be part of the Legends Only League, you know.
And that would be exciting for me. That'd be like, okay, I'm paying. What's the price tag? I'll pay it.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be worth watching.
I'll pay $50, $75 to see that, as long as it's a decent undercard and things of that nature. So yeah, there could be several people that could be involved. But I brought that up because I thought that was funny that happened today. I was not going to talk about this in the pod. So literally before you got here, like 20 minutes before, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, you know, you just bring it up on me, and believe me,
I was not gonna bring it. I probably would talk about it next week, if it didn't come up the way I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, what's this on social Tyson? Like, man, come on, I want to see you fight again. Like I'm in the Tyson exhibition game now, and this could delay things. That's why I brought it up today. So
yeah, so I mean, we'll probably get more information on the business stuff the next couple of days, weeks, months, and then we'll report it as we get to it.
Yeah, so let's get into what happened last night.